What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sand. And right now, I'm feeling like 100 grand.
You are listening to Inspired Insider with your host, Dr. Jeremy Wise.
Dr. Jeremy Weiss here, founder of InspiredInsider.com, where I talk with inspirational entrepreneurs and leaders. Today is no different. I have Fred Meyers of Queensboro. You can check him out at queensboro.com. And Fred, before I formally introduce you, I always like to point out other episodes of the podcast people should check out. Since before we hit record, you were saying I'm old school, right? So I was like, who's some interesting interviews who are old school? I did a top digital agency series. I had Kevin Hurrigan on. Kevin Hurrigan actually started his agency in 1995. So it was interesting to hear the landscape of not just business, but also agency life, but also the internet and how his business evolved over that period of time. Another old school one that comes to mind is Ron Popeil. I don't know if you remember Ron Popeil.
The pocket peeler.
Yeah, he was the infomercial king, right? And so when you hear about wait, there's more, I'm pretty sure he came up with that saying. That was an amazing episode on his journey. I had Joe Sugarman on the podcast. Joe Sugarman started Blue Blockers. And he was an amazing direct response marketer. He got famous with Blue Blockers because of the infomercials they were running. And so that was a great episode as well. But many more. Check them out at InspiredInsider.com. This episode is brought to you by Rise 25. At Rise 25, we help businesses give to and connect to their dream relationships and partnerships. We do that in two ways. One, we help companies launch and run a podcast. So we're an easy button for a company to do that. We do the strategy, accountability, and the full execution production. Also, number two, we are an easy button for a company's corporate gifting. And people will send to their clients, their partners, also their staff. And we like to send food, Fred, because I like to get food. So we're kind of like the magic elves that run in the background to make it easy for the company to build relationships and run their business. And for me, over the past decade, I found no better way to, when I'm looking at building relationships and creating life-changing, friendships, to feature them on my podcast, share with the world what they're working on, also send them delicious gifts in the mail. So if you've thought about doing those things, go to rise25.com or email us at support@rise25.com. I am excited to introduce Fred Meyers. He's the founder of Queensboro. Queensboro's a company he actually founded in 1982, and it revolutionized the custom logo apparel industry. This was before the existence of fax machines or 800 numbers. I think Joe Sugarman talked on the podcast at one point about creating 800 numbers and how it was illegal at some point to take credit cards over the phone. I think at the time he did do it anyways and asked for forgiveness. But Fred identified a market gap in the premium polo shirt space, which was dominated by Ralph Lauren and Lacoste. And he actually built a supply chain from scratch, transforming a college dorm room operation into a multi-million-dollar company that's really sustained growth over the past 45 years. And it's grown to over 125 employees. They've served major clients like Costco, Burger King, and Pepsi. But really, the bread and butter is the small businesses. And they help build those small business brands through custom apparel. So, Fred, thanks for joining me.
Yeah, great to be here. And I got to say, Ron Popeil is a hero of mine. I haven't seen like all of his work. How long ago is he still?
He actually unfortunately passed away. I don't know if it was a year ago or 2 years ago, but I'll send you the interview. His story is incredible. Why was he your hero? What did you see?
He's a brilliant marketer. I mean, it was, to create the excitement that he was able to create in these infomercials and these the crazy products, the fishing rods, and I mean, it's like it's brilliant. It's just it's art, you know. It's like if you like B movies, and there's a lot of people that like B movies, you know, you see the art and the work that he did. And you know, so there's a genre of it, you know. Billy Mays, I think, was another guy,
Oh
and
yeah, the
and
ShamWow. I think Billy Mays was the ShamWow.
right, right, and Sugarman also, you know, different, a little bit of a different energy to him, but you know, the uh, you're younger than I am. You know, I grew up watching Crazy Eddie commercials on TV. You know, our products are prices are insane, and you know, these were the inspirations that kind of led me into marketing and got me into marketing. And um, there's been a lot of other great ones, but you talked about you mentioned you're from Chicago, which is really in a lot of ways the yeah, but wait, there's more. Chicago is really kind of the center of where direct marketing grew out of with Sears, originally with the original catalog. And we started off really as we were taking small space ads in the back of
You
New
were.
Yorker magazine. Yeah, yeah. And Wall Street Journal, New Yorker, New York Times, and uh,
Is that how
you
you
know,
got
once
your
you,
early customers at Queensboro?
yeah, that was how I got my early customers
How
in
did you even
the
discover to do
800 number.
space ads at the time?
How did I discover? Is
Yeah.
that what your question?
Yeah, like
So, you
yeah, what
know,
were some of the things you
yeah.
did early on?
So, you know, I kind of grew up with the New Yorker magazine in the house, and you know, I would when it came, I'd look at the cartoons and then look at the ads because they always had like quirky, quirky kind of products, little like pretty little space ads, and was just drawn to how you can tell a story in such a small amount of space.
What was
And
the offer at the time? And by the way, for people listening to the audio, there's a video. We're looking at Queensboro, and I think of all these direct response marketers, Fred, because you know
yeah,
all of them are experts and you know really amazing at offers. All right, and
right,
when I go to your
right,
website, like you have these kind of no-brainer offers on here, which is genius because it gets people
yeah,
going. So I'm curious what those original space ads. So you can see here, try a custom knit beanie. It's $5. Like, what's the risk? It's $5,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And we
right.
have hoodies, $10. Like, there's no way you can get a hoodie anywhere for $10, let alone your custom logo on
No,
it. And so I love the hooking me in. It's like, listen, I might as well get one for our company
right.
because it's $10 for a hoodie. And obviously if we want more, like, oh yeah, we have staff, we'll buy more. And you know, so I love the offers on the page here.
Yeah, and you know, we've got this trust proposition too, which is that in addition to this, and you know, I'm glad you told me about these other guys because uh, you know, I definitely consider myself working in their tradition that they started. But if we've got this guarantee that if you don't like the product, even the 495 polo, you don't even have to send it back to get a refund
Mm.
or a replacement. Um, so we're playing around with how hard to push that
The risk
guarantee because
reversal, right? Yeah, totally.
yeah, because you know, obviously the deal here is it's an arbitrage in a way because you can get free shirts if you really want to. But
We'll talk
yeah,
about, I mean,
yeah,
you
yeah,
even send stuff to Nigerian princes. So we'll talk about that. But go back to what was in the
yeah,
original space ads that were selling that worked?
yeah. So you talked about revolutionizing this space, and in order to be a revolution, there needs to be a prior regime. But there was not even a prior regime here. I guess you could say what Lacoste and Ralph Lauren were doing was the prior regime, but there was no industry of putting your logo on like polo shirts. I mean, there's a little bit of a t-shirt industry, going, and country clubs had custom logo
Mm.
golf shirts there. But in terms of like normal people, normal businesses being able to get apparel with their logo on it, it just didn't exist. So it was more like a birthing than a revolution. Um, and the idea was, I'd grown up wearing Lacoste shirts, and they're amazing shirts. They're still amazing shirts. I haven't worn one in 40 years, at least since I started the business. Um, but as the brand started um, taking on this like status snobby um, connotation, I wasn't really I didn't relate to that.
Mm.
So I came up with the idea, wouldn't it be great if you get the same quality shirt with any logo or design you wanted on it? You talked a little bit in the intro about building up the supply chain. That was not an easy process at all, but the thing about being young, you don't know what you can't do. So, you just keep working on it till you find the people that can help you.
Do you
Um,
remember your first customer that was meaningful to you, like a milestone?
so I was in college in New York at the time, and uh, I had a guy that I was working with on the business at the time, and we met playing squash at school, and he was operations research major, and he was doing an internship one summer with one of the investment banks um, downtown. And turns out they had a squash league. They had a summer squash league for not just interns, but associates and everything. And so um, we made some polo shirts with the name of the investment bank on these shirts, and these guys trotted them out for a match, and the guys that were playing said, "Oh my God, like those shirts are amazing. How can we get them?" Um, and the guys at the investment bank that he was working at, they started seeing him, and everybody at the investment bank wanted him. And this guy, my friend, um, I'll tell you the name of it was Morgan Stanley at the time. I might as well drop the name. I'm not even sure if they exist anymore. But so my the guy I was working with on this, um, one day he's at his desk and his phone rings, and he hears this, Jeff, and he says, "Yeah, this is Jeff." He says, "Come up to my office." And it was the CEO of Morgan Stanley, which I think his name was Fisher at the time or something. I should remember the names. And so he said, "Right away, sir." And so he goes up to the 86th floor, wherever the guy was. And he says, "What's this I see about everybody getting these shirts with the polo, the Morgan Stanley name on it?" And he said, and Jeff, my friend, said, "Yeah, it's just I'm doing this with my friend, and we thought it'd be fun to do it um, for the team." And the guy said, the CEO says, "What happens if somebody robs a bank with one of those shirts on?" And the picture on the front of the New York Post. And my friend said, "Well, probably wouldn't be good publicity for the firm, would it?" So we got banned from Morgan Stanley, and but all the other investment banks started signing up, and that kind of was the first like launch of how we saw how you take a shirt and you add a logo to it, and all of a sudden the 1+1 is equal to a lot more than two. It's like three or four, and you saw it with Lacoste, the enthusiasm and affection for these shirts was far greater than the sum of the parts. And that was the thing that I was trying to tap into. That's what I saw happening. Well, first with Lacoste and then with this squash league stuff. And that's magic, that's magic. And the original idea was that I thought individuals, you and me, and we'd come up with our own little Fred logos and Jeremy logos or whatever with a panda or something. But it turns out that the businesses were the ones that already had the logos. And the thing that I kind of missed also um, about the idea is, and this is, you can kind of it's not unexpected for a 20-year-old kid who's totally wrapped up in his own head and his own life, but that the lesson was the power of we is much greater than the power of me. So like if you and I are on a business together and we can both wear a shirt or we're on a team together and we can share that experience as opposed to it's just about me and how great I am with my logo. That's a much stronger selling proposition. That's something that resonates a lot more with more people than individual logos. So
Yeah, it's interesting. There's a virality to it, right? Obviously, in a certain setting. I'm curious if you discovered something and then you went deep into a niche. Because when you're saying this, it gives me all sorts of ideas. Like you mentioned, country club. Oh, we can contact all the country clubs, and that makes sense across the nation. You mentioned investment banks.
right,
Okay. You
yeah,
mentioned, I mean, softball team or whatever. There's leagues. Was there
yeah.
something that you just like, oh, we're going to double down and just go into this and start? I'm curious if there's any point where you're like, yeah, we're going to double down on this niche.
Yeah, so niches, marketing to niches is expensive because you pay a premium for the locality of it. Whereas if you put a ad in the New Yorker, National Magazine, Wall Street Journal, you're you get a discount for the lack of specificity. Um, so I thought like you're suggesting, like it'd be really easy to market to these um, verticals, as we call them these days. But it turns out that the price to put an ad in a vertical for like um, investment banks, you know, uh, where you get 20,000 investment banks getting it is the same cost as to put an ad in the Wall Street Journal that 3 million people get. So, and it's a numbers game, as Popeil and Sugarman would tell you, you got to get the message out. Niche stuff is hard to market. So you need to get it out in front of as many people as you can. And, you talk about when people are doing cold calling, the ones that are good at it know that, I know I need to make 10 calls. And the 11th call, I'm going to get a yes on. So, every no that I get gets me closer to my yes. But when you're doing direct marketing, you get all 999 of those rejections in an instant, and you get the yes at the same instant too. So when I saw the number of orders we were getting from the broader marketing spectrum compared to the narrower one, that kind of got me more focused on the general market. And even to this day, we always try to look for trends in our customer base and stuff. And every time we kind of say, okay, we're going to figure out who our customers are, when we do an analysis, SIC or whatever, the biggest group of customers we have. This has been true for 40 years. Has always been other. So
What's that mean? Just
other is people that aren't easily categorized.
yeah.
So, but the thing that holds them all together is, they're small businesses. Um, the, uh, the thing that we always did starting off was kept our order minimum size very low. So there's very low barrier to entry. Understood the importance of building that trust, with the customer from the beginning about delivering. And if you don't deliver, be accountable. If there's a problem. But the thing that ties everybody together basically is, these are entrepreneurs. They're running small businesses, small, medium-sized businesses. And, our experiences of our lives are all kind of very similar. And I'll tell anybody who will listen, including our we call the folks that deal with customers here our customer experience team, because they're like trying to optimize the customer experience. That you guys don't have any idea how lucky you are, because we are dealing with the absolute best customer base in the world, the owners of small, medium-sized businesses in the United States. These are guys and women, men and women, all kinds of people that have, um, you know, put everything they had on the line to try to make their businesses succeed. And for the most part, they're succeeding, and they love what they do, and they understand what we do. And I think we've been successful because we talk the same language. We've been able to establish relationships based on a common language that we speak. When a mistake gets made, you own it, and everybody understands. It's not the end of the world. You move on, particularly if you're prepared to be accountable for it, which we always are. And it's been amazing I've got people that I've been working with for 20, 30 years.
Fred, I want to dig into one thing you said there. Obviously the things that you think about, when people could check out the site to just see it in action, right? You're thinking about what's the best offer we can give, what's the best guarantee we can give. You're thinking about the customer experience a lot. So I'd love to hear some examples of feedback you got and some of the improvements, because even at your stage, being in business for decades, you're still always working to improve the customer experience, which is great. What are some of the things along the way that you got feedback on that helped improve the customer experience and journey?
So one of the challenges that I had starting the business was there. It's kind of at the early days of computers, and there was starting to be some software that was being written to scale businesses to track orders and things. But this was all kind of for kind of linear kind of data, like a SKU purchased, shipped. There was nothing where you could take an image and combine it with a SKU and track it through a system. So early on, I got into software development, and there's nothing that I personally could do myself, but I found the people who could do it, and we were building programs on DBase on the computers that were first coming out, and figuring out how to attach logos. And so the power of maintaining control of your data and tracking orders through the system became obvious to me from a very early stage. And as we have gotten bigger and better over time, the ability to share an order journey with a customer in real time, where your order is and what's happening with it and what stage it's at, when it's going to ship, predict when it's going to ship. As we've gotten better and better at that, that's really improved the customer experience, because the most frustrating thing that a customer can experience is when they kind of lose control, and they don't have any idea what's going on. Nobody's calling them back. They think they've lost their money. So whatever we can do to kind of keep the customer in the loop as to what's going on with their order and project in real time, the more in control they feel, and also the more confident that if something goes off the rails or there's a little problem, that like I've been saying, we own it and we're accountable for it.
Do you still use do you use a custom right now, or site, or do you use kind of back end with like Magento or one of these
this is all custom built
custom
stuff ourselves. So we got a team of 8 full-time developers on staff. It's an amazing group of people. I'll tell you one thing, that's a little unique about me and the way we run the business is, as technology became a bigger and bigger part of what was required to kind of be in business and do well in business. Um, uh, and these kind of renegade coders started imposing their lifestyle on organizations. Um, it was kind of contrary the antisocial kind of disposition of these guys, and it was mostly guys at this point, was kind of ran contrary to the way I believe you should build a team and the value of working together cooperatively and positively and all that stuff. And I had a guy running my technology team, 20 years ago, and we were looking for people, and he would always say, "Listen, you got to give these guys some slack. They're just not like normal people. Don't expect them to be nice. Don't expect them to be patient with users. That just doesn't happen." And I said, "No, I don't buy that. I think we can find people there to do those jobs, to care about the people they work with. They're going to care about the customers. They're not going to be completely selfish people." And over time, we've been able to build a technology team that is like incredibly supportive of the users, our other employees that obviously aren't as skilled as they are on this stuff. And I think it's been a real competitive advantage for us, because all this stuff that you see, we have complete control over, and we change it and tweak it as we need to. You talked about offers. It's pretty complicated to have a site where the offers are dynamic and can change all the time. So if you click on that deals button, you'll see above the word custom, these are like, you can choose any of these different promotions. And you load a bunch of stuff in your cart, and then you kind of can go and shop on the deals and see where you get the best price. And that's a pretty big development. As far as I know, there's not another company in selling on the internet where you can do something like this, functionality like this.
I have a question about product expansion, right? You started with shirts and
shirt, white and navy. Yeah.
I'm curious what the evolution was like with that. And because when I look at this, Fred, I'm sweating, because I mean, if I want to click into one of these things, but it is crazy how much customization, right? I mean, this is there's enough logistics involved in just sending something in the mail and getting it from the warehouse and putting it in, and then you're customizing it. But like, I click on this, it's like, now there's like 17 different colors. There's 5 different sizes. It's insane.
Yeah, and
Like,
if you have a logo,
did you just want like a glutton for punishment? Let's like put more
like
product opportunities. I mean, what was the evolution like of the products?
So you're looking at the site as a new customer, so you don't have a logo in there yet. But if you had a logo in there, and let's say your logo had 4 colors in it, and you looked in all those shirt colors over there, we've got software built so that if you want to put a green logo on a white shirt and a white logo on a green shirt, like if you've got, like I said, different colors within
like
your
the
logos,
color of the logos, and then only shows you those options type of thing.
Well, it doesn't do it that way. You've got complete control over it. But so you could have a 6 color logo. You could buy 7 different color shirts. So that's 56 potential color combinations, customization on that product. So just to give you an example of how complicated it gets to be.
But then you're adding more products, right? I mean, you're adding, I mean, you start with shirts, and there's bags, there's towels, there's dress shirts, there's polos, there's hats, there's drinkware.
It's all,
what
it's
was
all
the
about
evolution?
the software.
What did that look like?
Yes. So it's a funny question. So if first product was basically a dead knockoff of the Lacoste shirt without the alligator on it. without going into too much detail, the thing that really made that alligator Lacoste shirt a great shirt is that it was made from this two-ply yarn, which is um, very specialized. It's a difficult process because you have to twist the single narrower yarns together, but it's obvious like why that would be a stronger and more durable. And because there's actually more of the cotton exposed to your skin, it's softer product as well. But America is great about a lot of things, but generally, if there's an opportunity to do a little cheaper and get a similar kind of result, they do it. So when I really dug into it, and realized why this French product, which was coming over to America, why it was so good, it was because of this yarn that nobody was really selling in the United States because it was too expensive and everything. But I found a guy. I found a guy in North Carolina that could do it. It was a long, involved process, and my shirts were just as good as the original Lacoste shirts. And the amazing innovation that Ralph Lauren had, and I hope he's sitting here listening to us now talk, is that he realized you could use that cheaper yarn to make your shirt, and he used a little bit of a different fabric that was a little softer. But what he realized was, like, Lacoste at that time was it was white, navy, and red, I think. And he said, "I'm going to do this in 26 colors." And it was like the NBC Peacock opening up. But the quality of the shirt wasn't built to last in the same way. So yeah, for me, it was started with the white and the navy shirt, and eventually I got a little bored with just selling shirts, and my next product was actually shorts, where they were cotton shorts. I found some nice fabric and found a guy in Garment District in New York that could make shorts for me, which was a completely stupid product extension. And but I like this fabric so much, after the shorts, I found a guy in New Jersey that could make umbrellas for me with the same material. So it went from shirts to shorts to umbrellas. So there's no I don't know how I stayed in business. I mean, it's crazy
Talk about the umbrellas for a second,
even think. Yeah.
because you got an interesting order for umbrellas at one point.
So yeah, you just never know. Like the umbrellas weren't really doing that great, but the great thing about being in business, and if you got entrepreneurs out there, I'm sure they'll tell you the exact same story, is you wake up in the morning and you just never know what's going to happen. And one morning I got in the office and I get this call, this guy with a funny French sounding accent, saying, I don't remember the name of the country, but he's calling from this little country in Africa, and the president of this country is running for re-election, and he wanted to get 1,000 umbrellas with his face printed on them. And I thought, well, that's an interesting way to start the day. And you never know if it's serious or not. But I said, okay, send over the artwork, and we'll get started on it. And so I got a DHL envelope the next day with a picture of this guy in his palace, sitting on his, I don't know, sitting on his throne or whatever. He was wearing a suit. Name was Homer Boingo, I think, and the name of the country is going to come to me. But so I went to get the artwork set up for him, and I said, okay, we've got the sample ready for you. I'll send it to you. How do you want me to send it to you? And Africa, and he said, no, 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 don't send it to me. You're in New York, right? I said, yeah, I'm in New York, and I was at the time. He said, my guy is he's going to be in he's going to fly over to JFK, and he's going to take a look at the sample, and he'll prove it for you. And I said, you mean he's going to fly over here just to look at this umbrella? He says, yeah, it's not a problem. He doesn't have anything to do. So meet flight, you know, Air France flight 278 at JFK at 4 o'clock on Saturday, and you'll get the approval. And sure enough, I'm over there. I'm at the gate, and this guy comes off in a impeccably dressed blue suit, starched shirt, and says, "Fred." I said, "Yeah." He said, "You got the umbrella?" I said, "Yeah." I said, Let's take a look." And he opened it up and says, "Oh, it looks great. So do you mind if I take it back to the president, His Excellency?" I said, "Please be my guest." And the next day, 2 days, and it was a Saturday, Monday, they wired like $40,000 into my account. And we made and shipped the orders. So it was a crazy,
Is this him,
it was
Fred?
a crazy thing.
Is this him?
Ah, that's
Is
what
that
the
right?
umbrella looks like. Yeah, what's the country? Gabonese. Yeah, Gabon. Gabon. Yeah.
Yeah.
I still have one of those. I still have one of those umbrellas in my garage, actually. I'm afraid to read that. I'm afraid to read that story though, because
Exactly. Well,
I
this is
hate to think
This
of,
is Wikipedia, so
yeah,
there's a lot of stuff on his life here, but
what he might
um,
have done or anything. And I
right.
think maybe
Listen,
there was
you
a
just supply the
senior junior.
umbrellas. You
Yeah,
have
yeah.
no
So
holds you accountable for anything someone did who ordered your product. That'd be a scary thing.
yeah, 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 absolutely.
But no,
Um,
it's just an interesting use case, and the product line going from shirts to shorts to umbrellas
yeah,
and beyond.
yeah,
It's you know, so a couple of things I just want to highlight. We talk about offers, guarantees, customer experience. Like you thought about not just from the delivery perspective, but also just building on a software team to help the user experience on the, even very, very early on before people were
yeah,
thinking about it. Having the user experience online be great. I do want to hit on, we talked about the operation. I mean, the logistics on this is crazy, right? There's so many moving pieces. You've expanded locations. What are some of the challenges you've overcome from the operational logistics? I mean, we're talking from a dorm room into what you have now, which is kind of locations all over the country.
yeah. So scaling obviously is a big challenge, particularly when you've got product, because product takes up a lot of space and costs a lot of money. We've been able to, like I talked about the two-ply yarn. Early on, I was buying yarn from a yarn spinner and sending it to a knitter, and then it was going to a dyer and finisher, and then to cut and sew. And I had to tell the cut and sew guy, okay, I need so many smalls, mediums, large, extra large. I mean, it was a wow. It was really, we were never very good at it, and we always had either too much or too little product. But over time, we've been able to kind of simplify and simplify and simplify, and we've got relationships with vendors now that are able to we're linked with, and we're able to um, send orders as they come in on our website in real time. They actually pick them on an order basis in their facility and ship them to us ready to go onto the machine. So before that, we had a warehouse, a big one, 40,000 square foot warehouse that was full of this product, and we would uh, whatever we would pick out of the warehouse in a day, we would place an order to replenish the warehouse. So we had guys running up and down the aisles trying to pick boxes, and that's all gone now. So that need for all that warehouse space is gone now also. And um, it was the
So it allows
process
you
of,
to do a little bit more, um, just custom related stuff, but like not hold tons of
right,
inventory.
right, exactly.
I
not
mean,
held
you have to
against
build
it.
up good partners over time, right? I mean, that's kind of
Absolutely.
what
Yeah.
you have to do.
Yeah. And, that kind of goes back to the old school philosophy of at the end of the day, it's all about relationships. And, relationships are all about trust. Um, and I'll tell you a quick story about um, kind of a pivotal moment in my career, um, which was, we never really had any trouble growing the business. Our challenges in the early stages were always more about delivering orders because, like you say, logistics are complicated. And that kind of changed in 2008, 2009. It was kind of like with that recession that really kind of slammed the door on the old analog economy. And but the new digital marketplaces hadn't quite yet replaced the New Yorker magazine, the Wall Street Journal as marketplaces. And we became really frustrated in trying to grow the business. And at that point, and for a couple of years, tried a lot of different things, didn't work. And I'm going to try to keep the story kind of short here, but one afternoon, 2014, was really frustrated. It was really tough week and swimming some laps and um, trying to, work off the frustration, swimming and swimming. I think I'm about to turn 50 or something, and thinking, why aren't we doing better? Why aren't we doing better? Why aren't we doing better? Kind of at the rhythm of the stroke. Then all of a sudden I hit the wall and with my hand on my head, and I said, we're not doing better because we aren't better. We're actually performing to our abilities, our capabilities. And it made me realize how much just kind of hope is such a fundamental strategy that businesses have about how they're going to do. And then it was like, okay, so how do you get better? And getting better starts with the people in your organization. So imagine an organization with all great people, no brilliant jerks, as they say. And so, how do you even begin to do that? So you have to kind of create a profile of what a great employee is. And we created these 4 Ps around that, which is that somebody is principled, positive, um, uh, proactive, and productive. So that's kind of the filter. But then on top of that, the company started changing. We started, the quality of the people, the energy started improving. Then we had to come up with a philosophy of management and leadership to corral all these great people to make sure everybody was on the same page, and really did deep dive into what great leadership really looks like, and came up with this insight that really the core of great leadership, because you can be an effective leader and a bad leader. You can get results and stuff, but that's not really great leadership. Great leadership is, all the things we all agree upon is about bringing people together, but the center of it, the core of it, is an ability to form relationships, develop great relationships with people, up and down, all different kinds of people in all different walks of life. And those relationships are the basis of trust. And you can't have trust in an organization if you don't have great relationships through that organization. And an organization is not just your team; it's your customers, it's your vendors, and it all starts with the relationships, which is the basis of trust. And this is what we're trying to do with our customers and everybody we work with.
Yeah, no, Fred, thanks for sharing that. I love that question is how do we get better?
How do we get
Right.
better?
And the 4 Ps and it's really instructive. It's a great reminder. So thank you for sharing
Yeah.
that.
Yeah.
I have one last question. Okay.
Uh-oh.
Before I ask it, I want to point people to queensboro.com. If you've been watching the video, you've seen the site. You can check it out, and they have some amazing deals on there, obviously. So check those out too. The no-brainer offer, even with the guarantee. I didn't even realize it was a guarantee, but that's
Yeah.
even better. But the The last question is just about a story we were talking about before we hit record about, someone passed away, and I don't know why you were the person they called.
Yeah. So our mission, which was also came out of a kind of that 2014 epiphany, is we're trying to help people share who they are with the world. And it's just kind of ironic about this particular use case, but we want to be partners with people and expressing themselves and becoming the people who they want to be and who they feel like they are. But we've developed a lot of great relationships with customers over the years, and people really they love the shirts, as we talked about. Great quality shirt, the logo on it, magic happens. And this call that you're referring to came in late afternoon on Friday from a woman who was audibly upset, and she said, Fred, I need a favor from you. My father has been a customer of yours for 20 years, and for the last 20 years, the only shirts that he ever wore were the shirts you made from him with our farm logo on it. Trois Silo. They had a farm in Stamford, Connecticut, and my dad had a great life, but he passed this morning, and we were going through his instructions, and on the top of his list was I must be buried in a brand new Queensboro Trois Silo shirt. And she said, the funeral's on Monday. Can you possibly help us out? And I was brought to tears by this story, and I still get a little emotional even thinking about it, that a product could have such an impact on a customer that they would do that as a last request. Sorry.
Totally. No, thanks for sharing that. It's
So
a testament
we did it. We got
to
it out. Yeah.
it's a testament to the relationship and the product, and I want to just point people to Queensboro.com. And Fred, thanks for sharing some of your journey, your lessons with us. So I appreciate it, and we'll see everyone next time. Fred, thanks so much.
Thanks. Yeah, have a great day.
What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sand. And right now, I'm feeling like 100 grand.